everyone, I hope you're having a great week. We are 2 days away from the start of Season 3. Maintenance is going to be tomorrow, August 20th. We have a maintenance happening. That is going to be them preloading the Season 3 content onto the servers to make sure nothing gets crashed and it all can actually be there, and they can just flip a switch and turn everything on the 22nd when the actual Season 3 update goes live. Wanted to show this off real quick before we get into the patch notes. We got new third-person camera to territorial benefits. Mooncake Regatta Race, Requiem of the Lost, which is going to be a Halloween event, as you can tell from the pumpkin on the sales there. All of the items we're getting from the Smuggler Pass, which is going to be one less furniture item, I believe, than last season. New world event, Serpent's Wrath looks pretty cool. Merchant Convoys. We have the new legendary sea monster, Shadow Beast, the dragon. Interesting to see how this is going to work. It looks like it's going to have a lot of lightning coming down on us during the fight. Li Tianning and Commander Zhang. I thought it was just going to be Li Tianning. Looks like we got another duo. I thought that was going to be just the Ubex thing. Hopefully the third season isn't another duo, because I think it'll be a little played out at that point. But yeah, I thought it was just going to be Lee. All right, so we can go ahead and get into the patch notes, though. We're not going to go over everything. We're not going to go over bug fixes, UI changes, stuff like that. We're kind of just skim over that kind of stuff. And new content we'll also kind of skim over quickly. We're really going to be focusing on new items and changes to ship balancing and whatnot, as well as like major content changes. So we're just going to hop right in here with the Battle Junk. Is going to be a new ship we're getting. It's a new tank. Let's see, it gets a Resilient Juggernaut suited for distracting opponents. Gets a Provoke perk. Weapon hits within 200 meter range. Apply taunt charges. Applying taunt with the ship makes target vulnerable to 50% increased weak point damage from all sources. So whenever a enemy is taunted and you're on this ship specifically, you get the 50% increased weak point damage. So that's nice. Increase brace strength by 150% and brace strength recovery by 25%. That's huge. So it's going to be very bracey, big brace ship. Secondary perk receives 2% less damage per attack each time incoming damage is braced. This effect can stack up to 20% and expires if no damage has been braced within the last 12 seconds. Inflicts taunt charges to hostile targets within 125 meters while bracing against hits. So eventually you can stack up 20% damage reduction for basically 12 seconds at a time, and then you brace and then reset that. You can have 20% damage reduction at all times with this ship, which is kind of crazy. It's going to be very strong, and the taunt effect also gets built up on enemy ships, which when we go down, scroll down lower, you'll see the effect of taunted and this other electric one, the, what is it called? Stormstruck status effect. We'll see what those cause, what those two things do here in just, actually let's go ahead and scroll down. Let's see, status effects. Let's see if I can find it. So here's the new status effects. We'll just skip past this later when we get to it scrolling down, but yeah, so taunted is a new status effect applied to targets in combat when using provoking weapons. It charges up on target with every shot, and upon being fully charged activates the following effects, which last for 30 seconds. If the target is an AI, it is focused on taunter/source for duration of the effect. Also, target deals 50% less damage for the duration of the effect, and this applies to PvP. So that's going to be really, really strong if an enemy is taunted. 50% less damage. That's a massive debuff. And then Stormstruck. Stormstruck is a new status effect applied to targets in combat when using electric weapons. It charges up on the target with every shot, and upon being fully charged, activates the following effects, which last for 15 seconds. Target is dealt 1,000 electric damage every 3 seconds, so a nice little dot there. And when an afflicted target is within 150 meters of another hostile, lightning arcs between the two every 3 seconds, dealing 2,000 each time. up to 4 targets within range may be struck. So, dang, that's really strong. If they're grouped up and one of them has storm struck, they got to get away. Okay, so Divine Thunder is going to be a new long gun. I'm pretty excited about this one. It sounds pretty good. Hits to a target's weak points have a 35% chance to summon a devastating lightning strike that deals 3,000 electric damage, also adds 20% damage as electrical damage and piercing damage, as well as increasing damage to weak points by 75%. So this is going to be a really strong weak point weapon, which I think is also going to go really well with the new Battle Drunk because of that 50% weak point damage it already gets. So that's already 125% weak point damage right there. We're also getting a new armor called Immortal Vessel Armor. Prevents a killing blow from sinking the ship, and this ship becomes invulnerable for the next 6 seconds. The effect has a 180-second cooldown. That's 3 minutes. So 3-minute cooldown, but essentially just saves you from when you would essentially die. I would assume that includes boarding. We'll have to find out. And the invulnerable, I'm assuming that's just immune to all damage for 6 seconds. There's a vulnerable status effect, so this could be confusing, but I don't think it has anything to do with it. I believe we're just immune to all damage for 6 seconds. More than likely, if I had to guess. Other available rewards, new rare armor, Volta's Ward. Is this the perk for it? Insulation, reduce damage from Stormstruck status effect by 25%. I'm guessing that's Volta's reward right there. Yeah, I'm guessing that's Volta's reward perk is Insulation, if I had to guess. Reduce damage from the Stormstruck status effect by 25%. Seems kind of underwhelming. Could be wrong. Hope I'm wrong. Charge Stores is going to be a new furniture piece. After triggering the Stormstruck status effect on a target, increase damage from the next attack by 50%. Ooh, that could be really big with the Infernal Maw. Also increases charge rate of the Ablaze status effect by 10% on targets already affected by Stormstruck. And increases damage to the electrical weapons by 5%. Phoenix Talons and Heaven's Mandate. We've already talked about those in the last week's video, so we'll skim over this real quick. 18 strikes, landing 18 hits in a single volley, instantly deals 1,888 burning damage. This effect deals 200% as much damage. Very confusing wording. 200% more, I'm guessing, on a target with the Ablaze status effect. Hits on a target cause buildup of the Taunted status effect and 20% burning damage. Heaven's Wrath, if a target is afflicted with the Electrified status effect, hits have 15% chance to summon a devastating lightning strike that deals 1,500 electrical damage and 20% damage as electrical damage. That 15% is pretty low, but I'm excited to just see the bolts coming down. That sounds fun. I think this one's going to be very strong on Sambucks, the Phoenix Talons. Imperial Jade's going to be a new trade material. It's kind of like, I think, like the heads and stuff. I'm thinking it's similar to the heads and the things that the heads that the Lepest ones drop, and then the Ubex drop that blue, I forget what it is. It's a blue item. I think it's going to be similar to that, but we can trade it in for seasonal equipment at William Blackwood, the new vendor. Can trade it, exchange for seasonal equipment, so that's going to be nice. Updated mouse and keyboard. If mouse and keyboard interests you, link will be in the description so you can go read all that stuff. Third person camera view, that's going to be cool. I'm not really going to read too much of that. It's interesting, but not super interesting. What I want for the camera is to actually be able to do emotes with my character while we're in camera view. Action wheel interface, increased drop rates. So this one's interesting. They increase the drop rates from epic and rare equipment from boss chests. So everybody, including myself, was constantly complaining about this. I know some people were coming to the defense of the drop rates, but I think overwhelmingly people thought they were too low. So they've increased Black Aria, White Aria, Chorus Fleet, Lepest Locker, Lepest Strongbox. They've also included this new one down at the bottom. The boss chests new to Season 3 will also have improved rates on epic and rare equipment. So I'm just, overall drop rates are going to be better from now on from those boxes, which they need to be, though they were way too low. They were just, the box drop rates were way too low. There were other drop rates that weren't so bad, but the box ones specifically were terrible. Added new rewards to the Lopez Locker and Lopez Strong box. We're getting a Plague Bringer Ward, rare furniture, minor furniture. Reduce reload time of toxic weapons by 15% and increase damage by 8. So that's pretty good. That's really good for toxic weapons. It's going to make toxic builds more viable, which is awesome because they're kind of underwhelming. Hopefully this will bring them up to be on par. Seasonal content, we're not going to go over all of the stuff here. We're just going to kind of focus on any new item that it comes out. So episode 1 starting week 1, we're getting minor furniture braced gun whales. Reduces incoming secondary damage by 50% while anchored. Secondary damage, that's going to be interesting. That's minor furniture. That'll go really good with the iron capstan. Increases deceleration by 75% while dropping anchor. Nice. Okay, so that's kind of cool. It's a kind of underwhelming secondary effect, but kind of cool to help you not hit islands and stuff, I suppose. Scorched Horizons contract. Heavenly Lance adds 30. Torpedo. Rare torpedo. Okay. Adds 30% electric damage. Nice. Increased damage from torpedoes by 150% when target is beyond 100 meters. Okay, nice. Flooding 2 adds 20% as flooding damage. So that's really cool. That's going to be like a really cool build to do. Like electric and flooding damage. Rare Bombard. Hits on target cause buildup of the taunted status effect. 20%. It's kind of underwhelming. Hopefully they add like a third perk to that. Week 3, we're getting an epic major furniture cannonball carving station. Hitting a weak point applies taunted charge on the target. Immediately? Wow, that's going to be crazy. Increased taunt duration by 15% and reduces reload time of piercing weapons by 5%. So that's interesting. Engulfing Flames contract gives us epic armor Phoenix Crest, but a flesh wound. So it's armor. Okay. While your ship is bracing, an attacking ship receives taunt charge for every hit. Spiteful. Ooh. And 100%. Ooh. Spiteful for every taunted target targeting you. Gain 100% brace strength recovery. Dang, dude. Okay, so that's fat. That's actually better than the other armor, I think. Yeah, I think that's actually better than the other armor. So then week 5, we've got Flicker of Destiny, which is going to give us an epic ballista. Bane of 10 Suns. Unrelenting Drill fires a drill bolt that travels in a straight path, piercing multiple targets. Drill bolts deal additional 50% to subsequent targets. So that's 50% more damage to targets that get hit after you hit the first one. That's interesting. 420% increased damage and increased range on a full draw. And then week 7, we have Furniture Bloody Red, Major Furniture Bloody Red. Reduce threat generation of nearby friendly ships by 50%. Increase taunt bonus threat by 25%. I'm still not 100% sure what threat generation is. I thought I knew. And then increases threat generation by 10%. So is that just threat generation is what, just a buildup of status effects? I got something new to look into. Epic Furniture, Major Furniture, Freeman's Embrace. Alright, so Epic Major Furniture, Freeman's Embrace. While under the effect of a blaze flooded or stormstruck, ramming an enemy will spread that status effect to the target. That's interesting. Increases the duration of a blaze flooded and stormstruck on self by 30% and reduces incoming damage from a blaze flooded and stormstruck by 10. 10 doesn't seem like quite enough. Interesting. I feel like that needs to be higher. 25%. The Phoenix's Apex contract reward. An epic Demi Cannon Phoenix Talon. So that's the Phoenix Talons. We've already read that. I'm going to skip over it. And then Raging Inferno contract. Minor furniture beam supports. Increases max hull health by 7% and armor rating by 7%. Okay, so Smuggler Pass highlights new ship, battle junk, Divine Thunder, Immortal Vessel armor, charge stores, and Lazy Iggy, which is that iguana. Seems pretty cool. Mooncake Regatta is going to be the 27th through the 17th if you're interested in the race stuff. Looks like it's just going to be another race, basically. I'm not super interested in the race stuff other than the items that drop from them. Reaper of the Lost, Looking at the Revenge Lost Souls. It doesn't say anything about items that are going to be dropping from this, but I'm sure there will be. Shadow Beast and Elder Shadow Beast, Heir to the Throne, and Divine Retribution will be first available from the 10th to the 24th of September and subsequently repeated throughout the season. Epic Furniture, Smoked Canister, and Epic Armor, Royal Custodian. Okay, so we know the Royal Custodian, but the Smoked Canister is new. A Smoked Canister increases ammo capacity of Seafire weapon by 20%, reduced reload time of Seafire weapons by 10%, and increased maximum range. So that's nice, because honestly, the ammo capacity of them was too low. So that's really nice. That's going to be really good for Seafires. They needed something, man. That Seafires are just super underwhelming right now. New enemy types. This is going to be interesting. While participating in bounty contracts, world events, Mooncake Regatta, you can encounter these new enemy types. Impender, a lightweight in terms of speed and health. However, when ranged, they will quickly tear your sails. So that's cool. They're going to knock sails. So there's a new range. There's a ranged one that already just anchors down and does tons of damage. This one's also going to knock your sails. So that's terrifying if you have both of those. Defender, a heavy tank ship with high armor and high health. They deal low damage and instead contribute by maneuvering to block your shots. That's interesting. That'll be interesting. Season 3, Blackwood will offer seasonal equipment for Imperial Jade. That's the most interesting part. New items will be available and added to his wares every 2 weeks. In addition, he will offer a different selection of Legacy Smuggler pass equipment and Season Pirate every 2 weeks. So that's going to be cool. He'll cycle out some items from past seasons that we'll be able to get every 2 weeks, basically. As well as the Black Market is going to cycle out things every 2 weeks. White Jade, Epic Rare, Culvern is going to be available. Okay, so these are all the items available in the black market. White Jade, Epic Rare, Culvern, however you say that. Shared supply. Hits on an ally ship will also repair the nearest allied ship for 75% of the original repaired amount. That's awesome. Okay. 1,000-Year Monsoon is going to be an Epic Bombard. Deluge. Oh, yeah, I've seen this one. This one's going to be awesome. Deluge. 15% chance to deal 2,500 severe damage. This chance is increased to 30% if the target is flooded. That's going to be fat, dude. That's going to be pretty cool. So we're basically getting Coronade Bombards. That's going to be cool. Where's our Electric Bombard? We need an Electric Bombard, though. Crouching Tiger. Epic Mortar. Taunting. Hitting a target instantly confers Taunted, which is going to be kind of cool. Wonder how much damage it's going to do, though. Celestial Dance, Epic Armor, Lightning Stream, hold brace to charge up a chain lightning attack that can damage up to 4 targets for up to 1,600 damage, depending on the duration brace. That's very underwhelming compared to the one from last season. Spiteful Spike Station, Epic Major Furniture. Hitting a weak point has a 25% chance of reducing all repair effects on the target by 75% for 15 seconds, regardless of the source. Emergency Sales, Rare Minor Furniture, increase trim speed by 10% and charge rate of torn sails by 10% while pursuing an enemy ship within 400 meters. That's nice. We definitely needed some more torn sails stuff. Trim speed, that's cool, okay. Legacy Cache will now consist exclusively of Sovereign equipment, Buccaneer's Oath, so all of these items, so only stuff that you've been able to buy with Sovereigns in the past. Okay, and that's going to rotate out every 2 weeks. Refinery Material Combination. Okay, so this I'm not super excited about, to be honest. So basically your Eel's Twine and all that stuff is going to be combined into Eel Sturdy Ropes. And it's going to take a really long time to do. This is basically going to be another time-gated choke point for people. A wall, if you will, for some people to hit. Let's read the dev note here. Season 2 and ships upgrades has significantly increased the need for rare materials, but also stress on the player warehouse space. They've partially addressed the second point, increasing it and improving filter options. Our intent, I believe is what that's supposed to say, with material combination and item salvaging is to give players more ways to obtain rare materials while also reducing the warehouse space taken by other less needed items and materials. So yeah, again, this is just going to be like a gate. It's not super exciting. I'm not excited about this, honestly, and I don't think you guys should be either. I mean, it may mean that the ships are going to get more increases, but I don't know. I'm just not super excited about it. It's more time gating. Item salvaging. You can now break down weapons, armor, and furniture, which is nice. But we need something. We need some kind of exchange for like the shipwreck items, the metal salvage, the torn sails, the wood planks, all that stuff. You get way more of some than you do of others, and you never use them. And that we need something for that. New job contracts, seasonal event calendar that's going to be visible in game. That's going to be awesome. The status effects, we talked about that. So the leaderboard reward, that's underwhelming, don't care. Resets, the seasonal resets. We've talked about this in the past. It's the same as last season, basically. So you get to keep 300,000 pieces of 8. If you have more than that, spend it on your eel twine and stuff, all that crap. Everything's going to be reset, your trade routes, your empire, all of it. You lose all your manufactories. But if you have 70, you'll get 75 ship upgrade parts. If you have 18 of the territories, you'll get 6 helm leases, and so on and so forth. What's new is there's going to be new territorial benefits. It's kind of hard to understand what it's saying, but profit rate for specific contraband by percentage, profit rate bonus by percentage, cost reduction by percentage, silver bonus, and collect all. Applicable to manufactories and global faction overall and overall. Not quite sure what that means. We'll see when season 2 comes. You can see right here that increases bonus rum production by 10%, reduces funding cost in sea people manufactories by 10%. So there's something going on there. It does increase. So there's seasonal bonus. Territorial bonuses, looks like. There's going to be a rebalancing. It's going to be significantly cheaper to fund your manufactories and upgrade them. I'm not sure why this doesn't go all the way up to 10 right here. It does on this one, but yeah, it's going to be way cheaper if you look at the differences here. Elite and multiplayer scaling. Multiplayer scaling has been adjusted and will start at 2 players instead of 3. Previously, we used different scaling values depending on activities. This has been made into single universal scaling value for consistency. The scaled values that come from having more players are whole health, weak point health, and damage per shot. Hard ships have slightly less health and slightly more damage. Merchant convoys, elite ships, and sea monsters have been tuned to become easier and increase accessibility for solo players. Their overall health and damage have been reduced depending on the context. So it's just basically going to scale better for solos from what I can tell, which is very nice because, I mean, there is no guilds. There's nothing like that. There's no social hub. There's no in-game chat. There's not a lot of just social tools in the game. So it needs to be very soloable, and they can increase the difficulty later once they add those tools, but right now there's just none. Furniture update for war drums, old effect, reduce crew stamina depletion by 50% while trimming sails, and increase armor rating. So just added armor rating, that's nice. It's intended to make war drum furniture more viable option by both removing the combat requirement and providing an armor increase while trimming, so that's nice. New items available, rare minor furniture, density furnace, increased charge rate of the flooded status effect, and increase the duration of the flooded status effect by 8% respectively. Okay, that's awesome. Oh, there's one up here too I missed. Charge rate of the torn sail status effect by 8% and duration. That's fat. Okay, that's big. And then the area effect radius of bombards and reload time of bombards. That's kind of nice. It's not huge. Be nice to have though. New blueprint of existing equipment. Sea monster changes. So I've kind of read these. Basically, the Listari and Mega Listari are getting some changes to make the fight not be so boring and have it sail around in a circle as much. as well as the damage phase at the end isn't going to be so overwhelming. Basically just more manageable for solos, and have it target the tanks. It targets tanks more, high health ships. And its attacks now favor high health ships. But that's basically it. We're not going to read all of that. I don't want to go over too much of it. Reduce negative effects of headwind. The penalties of headwind will only apply when ship is trimming at full sails to keep occurrence more consistent. The speed penalty is reduced from the 5 to 8 knots range down to 1 to 2 knots. For the Dow and small ships, you'll lose 1 knot. For medium ships, you'll lose 2 knots. Basically, that's all it is. Ship perk updates. So new effect applied to ramming, and this is for every ship. So ramming a target will reduce its armor by 100 for 30 seconds. Now, the dev note says, ramming is a difficult maneuver to pull off as it requires both time and a degree of precision to set up, and the payoff is not rewarding enough. This change gives ramming in general a bit more purpose than just basic damage, which is nice. It's awesome. Reduces the armor rating. Additional effect added to support ships. Increase whole health restored by repair weapons by 5% per repair weapon equipped. So that's pretty big. This addition to these ships is intended to promote repair playstyle and reward players who make the choice to have more repair weapons equipped as they sacrifice DPS to do so. So that's good. More reason to have repair weapons equipped. So these are going to be the ship changes. The Brig, unchanged perk, additional effect added to it is going to be that 5% restored per weapon. And then we get an updated perk, evolved buoys you deploy last longer. It's going to be changed to increase weapon damage and repair efficiency of auxiliary weapon by 10%. The original upgraded perk for the Brig felt too niche and too tied to the spring loader weapon, with unclear value for players. As such, we came up with a new perk that covers more ground and better fits the identity of Brig that we wanted to have. A ship that is great with auxiliary weapons, including spring loader. Snow, improved perk tenacity. Original brace strength recovers 4%. Now it recovers 5%. They basically just want to improve the damage mitigation abilities. Vindictive, after bracing, increase weapon damage by 20% for 20 seconds. They basically changed the wording to include damage right here, so that you know that you have to actually brace damage. You can't just brace and then get the 20% for 20 seconds. It has to be damage that you have braced. The Cutter, updated perk Unburdened. Original restores severe damage by 0.5%. So they've actually nerfed it down to 0.4% on these two respectively. And they've also done it for the Barg 4 down to 0.5. Essentially, the self-repair capabilities of the Cutter and Bark are performing a bit too well, hence turning down the effect by 20%. So they've nerfed the heal 20% on both those ships. The Badar, updated Lancer perk, increased damage from ramming by 25%, reduced slow effect of torn sails by 50% is the old, and now it increased damage from ramming by 25% and gain additional speed while pursuing an enemy ship within 300 meters, applies flooded to an enemy ship upon ramming and slows reload speed by 30% for 30 seconds. Basically, you're getting, when you ram a ship, you get reload speed 30%, less reload speed for 30 seconds, and it applies flooded to them, and it increases the damage of ramming by 25%. You're not getting the torn sails status effect anymore, which kind of sucks, but is kind of big. It's important. I think this was too strong. I think they should have lowered it, but it kind of sucks that it's completely gone now, but it is what it is. I think it is fair. I think you should have to use furniture to get this, so fair enough. They basically did kind of the similar thing to Brig. We'll go ahead and read it though. Increased damage from ramming by 45%. Reduced duration of torn sails by 40%. Applies flooded to an enemy ship upon ramming. The updated version is going to be increases damage from ramming by 45% and gain additional speed while pursuing an enemy ship within 300 meters. Increases flooding weapon damage by 20% and deal 20% more damage to flooded targets. So basically they want this to be more of a flooding build. Let's read the dev note. Like the Badar, they're adjusting the Brigantine's identity. They want it to be identified as a ship that, in addition to being a rammer, is also efficient with flooding weapons. So basically just same there, just also efficient with flooding weapons. The Headstrong upgraded perk, this is when you upgrade the ship. When moving 12 knots and above, increase ram damage by 70%. They're changing that because they just changed this. And I thought it was way too strong, 70%. So let's see. Increases damage from ramming based on current up to 80%. So, wow. If target is flooded, deal an additional 7,000. That's crazy. That is going to be so strong. So that's like increased when moving 12 knots. Huh. So it's based on the speed. Hopefully it's way more than 12 knots. Hulk, Badar, and Bark. They already did Badar and Bark. Oh, that's the Barge. Badar, why couldn't they have put this up there? I guess because it doesn't have to do with the healing. Hulk, updated perk Bullhorn. Original is reduced brace strength depletion by 20% when hit. The update is increase armor by 250 for 30 seconds after bracing hits. Damage mitigation is very strong and poses issue when compounded, such as being immune to damage. As such, we are changing Hulk's perks to boost armor instead and encourage more active gameplay. Didn't know this was strong. I've seen people using the sloop. I'm surprised the sloop didn't get any kind of attention. I've seen tons of people using the sloop, and it seems like it does way more damage than it should and is tankier than it should be, the sloop. Huh. They need to look into the sloop. I don't know I haven't seen people using the Hulk or the Barge, so I'm not sure why they're adjusting these. Badar, update to Jousting. Original is ramming a target, reduces armor rating by 150 and increases own weapon damage by 10% for 30 seconds. The updated is increase damage from ramming based on current speed, capping at 150%, and ramming a target reduces its armor by 300 for 30 seconds instead. That's big. This one gets a treatment that rewards ramming more the faster the ship goes and provides additional utility by reducing the target's armor significantly. Yeah, very significantly. Okay, so the Bar got a upgrade to the Devouring perk. Old is inflict torn sails when hitting an ablaze target. Builds up torn sails when hitting an ablaze. Oh, so it's just changed the wording. It builds it up. It doesn't apply it immediately. It never did. And that was confusing people. That's what the dev note says. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it right there. You can read these bug fixes if you want to. And if you have any that you need to report, there is a link there. Again, August 22nd is when it's going to happen. If you made it this far into the video, I'm sorry it was so long. I'm going to edit down to be as short as possible because that was a ton of information to cover. So if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you watching this far. Leave a like if you like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.